Hey everybody, what's going on? Brian with Games Under Pressure here, and after a very long wait, one of my most anticipated games of the year, Rocket League on the Nintendo Switch, is available. I got this actually on today for review from Psyonix, and I'm super excited to play it. There are a few problems, and overall, my thought overall is that it's a really good port. I really like it. It's phenomenal to play on the go, but it's not without its compromises. And we've seen that time and time again with all of these Nintendo Switch games. It's a really great experience, but you're just not going to get the same level of fidelity that you would on something like a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One, and that's the case here. So for starters, the game does not run in 720p in handheld mode. It actually is way far below 720p. So in handheld mode, there's a dynamic resolution, so the resolution is always changing, but according to a developer, it hovers typically at about 1024 by 576. And for those of you video nerds out there, that's sort of like anamorphic DV video. And that will change. Interestingly, it changes radically depending on the course that you pick, the stage that you're playing in. So this stage on, say, handheld mode is actually like really good looking. It looks like it's pretty close to 720p. However, the Farmstead course looks horrific. It just looks so bad. It looks so bad. And I'm sorry, typically I'm really good with Rocket League, but trying to talk and do commentary and play at the same time, it's never been one of my strong suits. So, but anyway, in docked mode, which is how I'm recording this video right here, obviously, you have a resolution that is 720p. It's right at 1280 by 720, which is just normal standard 720p resolution. And playing on a 4K TV, I'm sure many of you are at this point. It looks rough. I'm not gonna, it looks rough. I'm not gonna try to like sugarcoat it or anything. There are a lot of jaggies all over the place, and it's just, it's not the best. However, I've seen very, very few dropped frames in docked mode, and in handheld mode, I've only seen a few, and they always seem to come at the worst possible time, but for the most part, the game runs fairly well. It's almost like Doom in that regard, in the fact that, you know what, you're going to get an experience that is far less than what you would on other consoles, but the mobility more than makes up for it. So I'll tell you a quick story. I downloaded this game, and I work from home a lot, so I always have to get out of the house to really like concentrate and everything. And I typically go to like McDonald's every day. I don't eat there. I just get a drink, and I sit there for a few hours. People watching is fun and everything. So anyway, that's what I do, and I did that today with Rocket League. Oh, I screwed that one up right there. I did that today with Rocket League, and I was able to connect it to a mobile hotspot. I got a perfectly adequate internet connection, and I was able to play Rocket League sitting in a restaurant, which is such a cool experience. It's really, really neat. The problem with that, however, is having to probably use the Joy-Cons, and the Joy-Cons, they're not phenomenal for Rocket League. They're definitely workable. It gets the job done, but I much prefer. Oh, that was weird. I actually like hit right and it didn't go. It doesn't feel the best. It works. It's adequate in a pinch. It's a really great way to play this game. But I would still recommend, even if you play in undocked mode, I would still recommend using the kickstand and maybe bringing along a Pro controller with you. It just makes the experience so much better. In terms of practical limitations, in terms of what these undocked, oh buddy, come on. In terms of what these undocked frame rates do, and undocked resolution rather, what it does make a few little problems come to light. So if you're like me, I can't do the ball chasing mode simply because it makes me sick. I get motion sick really easy, and it sort of makes me sick. So I really rely on that little white circle where the ball is going to land and everything. That's hard to see. That's very hard to see when you're in undocked mode. Specifically, the circle in the middle of the larger circle, it's it's difficult. It is difficult. I from a distance, if the ball is not visible on the screen, I do have an issue with trying to figure out how high the ball is, because there is that depth or that height sensor in the middle. It's hard to see that. Otherwise, you know, it plays pretty well. The HD rumble is welcome, and I think it works fairly well. And it seems to be a fairly good experience. I don't think that this is for pro players. I have played probably 2,000 hours of the game on my Xbox One, my PC, and on my PS4. I own every version of this game. And that is where I would still much rather play this game. The Switch, however, you know, if you're staying overnight at a hotel or something, and you need that Rocket League fix, the Switch is a really, really great way to do that. What I'm still trying to figure out here is just how to do some of the aerial shots. Whenever I move between consoles, it gets tough because you get so used to a controller, and I got so used to the Xbox One controller playing on my PC that I'm not doing aerials yet because it still feels really foreign. So I'm going to stick with, you know, easy shots like that I actually missed, and try to progress. But overall, yeah, it's decent. It's really decent. Online seems to work very, very well. I haven't had many instances of lag, many instances of high ping. It just sort of works. The only time that I have any issues online are when I took my Switch about half a house away from my router, and then I started getting some lag. I got that disconnection notice in the top right corner of the screen, and the closer I moved to the router, well, the easier it got. I'm going to show off another course here. I'm just going to go to training mode and show you that. The Switch does not have the best Wi-Fi, and it sort of sucks. But, you know, I'm just going to do free play. Here's Farmstead, and this is the course that I was really struggling with in Undocked Mode. But yeah, the resolution in Undocked, according to the developer, hangs in the 1024 by 576 range. And you can see it looks about the same here. I'm not seeing many frame rate drops, which is great. But you can see all the little glowing jaggies there because it's not really employing any anti-aliasing. So the aliasing is on full display. The stair-stepping there gets a little distracting at times. But again, you are playing the Nintendo Switch possibly because, A, you don't have other consoles, even though Rocket League has been on, you know, Sony's platform, Microsoft's platform, and on PC. If you're a Nintendo fan, this is the first time you're playing it. So if you have one of those other consoles, I would definitely recommend Rocket League on there. The other exception, though, is the fact that this is portable. And for me, I'd rather take a drop in fidelity and be able to play the game portably. It just, I don't know. There's something about the convenience that I really, really like. So this is one of the most convenient consoles out there, and it's a very convenient game to play, you know, 5-minute matches on the go when you're a little bored, using a mobile hotspot or whatever it is. It works very, very well. Just bring that Pro Controller. Another thing, by the way, another thing is on the Nintendo Switch, it has different triggers than on the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4, meaning that the Nintendo Switch triggers can't sense force. So you can't you can't press the trigger halfway down. It's either all or nothing. And that does take away, it steals some of that nuance from the game. You can't necessarily go at a slower pace. It's all or nothing. So that's a little frustrating, and it does take a moment or two to get used to. It definitely took me a few hours, and even talking, like text chatting on here with some fellow teammates, they were talking about how difficult the Switch is to get used to as well. So again, you do get used to it. It does feel good eventually, but it's weird at first, for sure. So that is going to about do it. The one thing that I am going to do right now is show you a very, very quick little sample of what it looks like in undocked mode, because I do think that's important. That is where the majority of people are going to be playing this game, I would imagine, and it is also where you see the worst performance problems. So I'm going to try to stand my Switch up here and play with some Joy-Cons to really capture that undocked experience. I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, back here, we are going to play an online match in undocked mode, and I'm filming this with a 4K 60 camera. I had to zoom in a little bit, but we're still well above a 1080p picture. And as you can see, the visuals take a pretty substantial hit. This is not the best or the worst looking course. I wanted to choose something in the middle to give you an approximate view of how most online matches will work. Now, one thing that you definitely want to keep in mind here are some of the frame rate drops. And for whatever reason, I seem to be having more in this map than any others. And they're not incredibly noticeable, but there will be a moment or two where things get a little bit framey. Now, don't get me wrong. This very well could be some sort of lag or something like that. It's just it's hard to tell what it is. But overall, you can't complain. It's a really good port. I think even in undocked mode, it's serviceable. The resolution is a problem, though. Resolution is a problem. Part of me wishes that they would have just made the arenas maybe a little bit simpler and kept the core gameplay at 60 frames a second, 1080p or 720p undocked. But it's just one of those things. And if you're wondering why I'm so bad, right here, it's because my camera was blocking most of my Switch screen. We actually ended up winning this match, but it was hairy for a few moments here until I was able to dock my Switch once again. On the go, it's perfectly acceptable. So definitely dive into this. It's going to be one of the best multiplayer experiences on the Switch. Hands down, you can't beat it, especially at $20. Come on. This is an excellent value for $20. Honestly, I would pay $60 for this game. That's how much enjoyment I get out of Rocket League. So if you've never played Rocket League because you're just a Nintendo diehard, you can't beat it. You can't beat it. If you want to play it on the go, do it. Can't beat it. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. If you would please subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. That is going to allow me to keep bringing you videos like this in the future. Thank you so much. We'll catch you next time.